You are more than your sun sign. I know that a lot of people tend to be a little hesitant to accept astrology. My question always is, have you actually looked at your chart? Have you actually had somebody look at your chart and tell you what else it says besides your sun sign? Because astrology in pop culture is just based on the sun sign because that's the easiest one. Most people know that because it's based on your date of birth. But what they miss is the nuance that comes with the rest of your birth chart, the rest of the information that you gain from knowing your birth time, your exact birth time, because that changes how everything else plays out. In astrology, you have your natal wheel. It's based on the time that you were born, and that's where your ascendant starts. And that basically kicks off all the different houses. There are 12 different houses in a natal wheel that show different areas of life. And if you have planets in those houses, then that influences how those energies play out in those particular areas of your life. And so I think a lot of naysayers don't understand that part of it. But then the interesting thing too is that a lot of horoscopes should actually be read based on your rising sign, not your sun sign. Because the horoscopes and what's going on in the sky are focused on what house it's influencing. And so what I encourage is to take a look at your chart. You have your sun, which is the main one that everyone knows. It's a lot to do with your outward self, in a sense, your natural gifts and talents, and what brings you vitality too. A lot of the times, especially for people who are younger, you don't really feel that connected to your sun sign. It's something that you kind of grow into. I know me personally, growing up, I didn't really identify with Gemini when I was younger because I was very introverted and I was very quiet. And that's because I'm a Scorpio moon too. I tend to be very withdrawn and I tend to internalize a lot of things. And that brings up another thing too, is the whole sun versus moon thing. So if you were born during the daytime, you're more likely to identify with your sun sign. If you were born at nighttime, you're more likely to identify with your moon sign. And so that's why knowing the information of when you were born is helpful. In addition to that, when you're able to cast your chart, you can go to sites like astro.com or astroseek.com. Those are the two that I'd recommend. And enter in your birth information. And from there, you're able to pull up a natal chart. And that will show you where all the planets were placed at the time of birth for you. And the interactions between all those planets are going to help you understand different parts of yourself and how you operate or how you best operate. It can also reveal a lot of shadows or things that you may not necessarily see in your life or be completely obvious until you start working with those specific energies. Like for me personally, it was my Leo South Node. I had no idea that that was even a part of me until I started doing more shadow, but I'm going off on a tangent here. So when you cast your chart, you get all the planetary placement, but then you also get the information about the angles. And so, especially when we're looking at astro-cartography, you need to know your exact birth time because that will influence where exactly those angles are. And when I talk about angles, I mean the ascendant, your IC or Imam Coeli, your descendant, and then your midheaven or MC. And so these points basically represent different areas of your life. The houses also do that, but they're more sensitive and more prominent in your life. So your ascendant is yourself, your IC is your home, your roots, your family life, and then your DC is your partnerships or relationships with others, and then your MC is your career, your legacy, and your public status. This is really important when you're looking at astrocartography, and because the maps are basically where in the world those planets align with those angles. So, not to get on an astro-cartography tangent, if you're interested in that information, and blog posts on my website, which I'll link in the show notes. You also have your Mercury, which relates to communication, how you communicate, how you learn, how you take on information or work with information. You have your Venus, which relates to love, beauty, harmony, money. Money and love tend to be a lot of the big themes that come up with Venus lines. And then you have Mars, which is all about action, drive, assertiveness, and aggression too, if it comes out a little on the shadowed side. You have Jupiter, which is all about luck, expansion, abundance, and also wisdom. There's Saturn. It governs rules, lessons, time, structure. There's Uranus, which is all about sudden change, innovation, rebellion in a sense, and higher consciousness too. Neptune, which is about illusions, also spiritual connection, and then also Pluto, our favorite little dwarf planet. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's about power, control, fear. And so you have all these planets, and these are just the main ones. You also have asteroids, you have other dwarf planets, you have other points in the sky or theoretical points. And all these things come together to form more of a story. It forms all these different parts of you and how they interact with each other too. They're called aspects. Depending on the degrees and the separation between two different planets, it will influence how they work with each other. Are there more challenges that arise from it or work together really well? And so when you look at a chart, it is more, so much more than just your sun sign. And I could scream this till I'm blue in the face, and I know that there are people out there who still won't believe it, which is totally fine. But I at least want to put that out there, that there's more to look at, and you are a combination of every single sign, not just your sun sign. And there is so much more to you. You're a complex human being. You're not just one thing. No one is just one thing. Unless you seriously have like a super massive stellium, which is an entirely different thing. But that's all to say. Maybe take a look at your chart. At the very least, look at your moon and your rising signs and just see what those energies are. Even if you don't understand anything else, you can look for your moon sign, you can look for your ascendant sign, and look up what those mean. I have some resources on my website as well that have descriptions about the different signs and some more background information that I can link as well. But yeah, just take a look and see what comes up for you. See if that makes more sense. I think it's funny because if you think about interactions with other people too, you might find that even though you are like a Pisces and your best friend is an Aquarius sun and you guys should not be friends by any means, just based on your sun signs. It could be that one of you have a Venus in the other sun sign or something else. And so it's a lot more complex than just that. And so if you are at all interested, I do offer astrology readings where we can go over your chart and talk about the different aspects and different planets at play and help you just understand yourself a little bit more. I love astrology because it's almost like a permission slip in a sense of you being able to just be you as opposed to anything else, anyone else you are. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.